it going today? I'm Kyle Peterson. This is R2K Outdoors. Today I'm going to tell you about drop tine, or DT as we called him in the final years that we hunted him. This deer, first time we ever found out about him, my sister texted me and said, "Bubba, there's a big deer out here," and she sent me a picture. Well, she tried telling me it had a drop tine, which to me it looked like a leaf that was on the tree. So I'm like, you know what, after we went back and forth on it, I decided that I'm gonna set a camera up and we'll settle it once and for all. First picture on the camera was him, and he had a drop tine along with split brow tines and kickers, and just an amazing deer. I tried hunting him a little bit that year. We had a lease that I was focusing on more, and hadn't gotten very many pictures of him towards the end of October and into rut and into November. So I kind of left him be that year. I found his left shed in 2016, and so in 2017, of course, I gave up the lease because I was going after this deer, and he blew up. Like, he was 24 scoreable points and just amazing. So ran cameras all year and watched him grow, just from having his bases all the way up to shed and velvet. And anyways, he ended up shedding his antlers that year in I think it was December 8th. And then I couldn't find them. I know they're in the neighbors somewhere, and I'm not allowed to shed hunt that. So anyways, on to last year, 2018, he'd gone downhill, and he had lost the drop tine, lost the big flyer. I mean, he still had a couple stick, kickers and everything. He was probably still, he was probably 18 points probably. He had split brow tines on both sides. Had a bunch of little kickers and everything everywhere. But I had one encounter with him, and I believe it was the middle of October. I was hunting a stand along a bean field, and I was getting ready to get down, about ready to lower my bow, and I happened to hear something coming through the timber, so I just sat still and watched the moonlight, and a couple does walked under me, and then I went to go turn, and I was getting ready to let my bow down, and all of a sudden I heard something else coming, and in the moonlight I could look through the mesh in the stand and saw this buck walk directly underneath me, and I had to let him go, after hours kind of deal, and couldn't see him. So the next encounter with him was on December 8th in 2018, and I caught him coming out from the northwest side of the neighbor's property in the CRP, and he worked his way slowly over Illinois, and I am heading up to go after a buck I've been after for a few years. He disappears on me about every year right before rut, and normally comes back right after Illinois' first shotgun season. This year he waited a little longer on me, but started getting pictures of him again on the 26th, the 28th, and then on the 3rd, after the second shotgun season, he was still in here. He's becoming more frequent. Last year, he's got a bad left leg, so last year he shed his antlers on today's date. I had trail camera pictures of him the morning of December 8th last year, and he had them, and in the afternoon he did not. So hoping I can get to him before he sheds his antlers this year, but the wind should be about right. I'm going up actually really close to
my family's house, and that's where I get most of my pictures of him at. Gonna go see if this east wind is gonna probably come from the northeast. See what happens, see if he shows up. He is what we believe is a 9.5-year-old deer. He's definitely old, that's for sure. He's gone downhill every year that I've chased him. He's lost some antler. This year is no exception to that. He's lost a lot this year, but he's still, I'm guessing, 18, 19, maybe even 20 points. Just got little kickers everywhere. But now the trophy is if I can take him as mature as he is, as smart as he is, that's the real trophy now. I'm also not opposed to shooting any does or anything like that today, so this could be a fun morning, fun day. I'm gonna probably sit the majority of the day. I haven't been able to hunt for 2 weeks, so deer ought to be moving through pretty heavily. We'll just have to see what happens.
So from that video there in the truck, I got in a stand and I saw a drop tine coming from far side northwest corner of the neighbors at about 9:20 in the morning, and he ended up coming in and he bedded at 80 yards. The wind was right. I had a good northeast wind that morning, and I knew he was coming on the trail, or had he kept coming, he would have been on the trail that would have been right in front of me. And the wind was perfect. He bedded. I ended up just sitting and waiting. I tried getting the camera on him multiple times, and just couldn't see him out through. There was so much brush and the CRP that the camera couldn't pick him up, and I couldn't find him in the little screen, so I could see him with my eyes and watch him in binoculars. And anyways, I just stood there frozen, just waiting, and finally he decided to get up when my family went to go leave, because the stand's right along their lane. And he stood up and he just made like a circle and laid right back down. And it was probably about 30 minutes after that, I noticed the wind switching out of the southeast. And of course, it was blowing right down the hill, right towards the CRP. And it wasn't even 5 minutes, and that deer stood up, looked directly at me, and turned around and just went straight east towards the creek and out of my life. And the last trail camera picture I ended up getting of him was December 13th, I do believe, and I knew when I saw it that it wasn't good. And then when we had the massive cold snap that we had last year in January, I kind of called it that he wouldn't be around. I mean, I've never gone more than a couple weeks without at least getting a picture of this deer. And I ran trail cameras all the way through into March of 2019 here, and he never showed back up. So now, we're on to 2019 here, and today is October 3rd, 2019. I should be in a deer stand. Actually, I should be at work, but you gotta take care of the kids, so gonna see what this weather does and see what happens.